Hey guys, this is Brian from Nintendo GamePoint Plus, and today I just want to give my quick thoughts, impressions, and just kind of my off-the-cuff ideas of the recent Super Mario 3D World trailer for the Bowser's Fury portion of the Switch port, and also just some other things that were announced today, specifically just some other Mario-related stuff. So let's start with, of course, the main attraction of this, which was Bowser's Fury. It was first off, it looks amazing. It looks friggin' amazing. I love the open world look to it. I love how it very much combines Super Mario 3D World and Mario Odyssey, clearly the recent Mario Odyssey gameplay of the open worldness, and how it's really taking more elements from 3D World. It actually, the more that I think about it, is kind of the first time we had an open world Mario game with more elements of the 2D games, where unlike Mario Odyssey or Sunshine or Galaxy, it was like the life system, where it was like you had a health wheel, the power-ups are kind of different. Everything worked different compared to the 2D games. This one's more of an open world, but it plays a little more like the 2D Mario games like New Super Mario Bros. And of course 3D World, where it has the Mario life system, where your life system is in threes, where you have a power-up, and then if you lose that, you're back to Super Mario. You lose that, you're back to Micro Mario and everything. So I like that. I like this interesting new style to it. It's kind of an interesting mix. I liked how they took all the elements from 3D World and put it into this new game style. They took it, and it's really interesting to see elements from a clearly linear Mario go into a open world like this, and I think it looks really interesting. I like that they included Bowser Jr. in this. I like how they gave him his paintbrush again. Because we haven't really seen him use it since Sunshine, and it's an interesting come full circle element to it. And I like how his stuff is used in the game. I like how you paint a wall with a question mark symbol on it, and then an item appears. That is really cool, and my inner artist thinks that is awesome. That you draw graffiti on walls and get good stuff. Like, don't graffiti walls, kids. Don't do that. Graffiti, actual graffiti is illegal. Okay, I'm gonna shut up now. I think an element that, I don't know why my mic is popping a bit. An element of the game that I found interesting is how you have this giant Bowser who's coming in. You got this like giant ink blot darkness Bowser of fire and brimstone. I don't think that's brimstone. It's like oil spill, more likely. But he's coming in, and he's kind of this big figure in the background, and he can attack you at times. And I'm thinking it's not so much. I'm thinking it's kind of this Zelda Breath of the Wild situation, where at some points he'll arise and walk about the stage, and you have to avoid his attacks, but you can't actually attack back until you get the big bell activated in the center, and then that's when you turn into Golden Lion Mario. I want to say like a Golden Lion. I don't want to say Super Saiyan Mario. I don't want to say it, even though it looks like that, but it does look like, at least in the hair, but it's such a interesting look. And I love how these are all elements clearly from 3D World, but everything still looks new, and there's this new, they were able to flip it and turn it into something new so easily, and I love it. And I think this game looks really cool. I'm intrigued on how it's gonna play, considering it's, 3D World was that linear way for a reason, and to see it finally in this open world, I am very excited to play when it comes out. Another thing is that I also, if I can touch back to Bowser Jr., I like how the story seems to be, at least this is my idea of it, is that Bowser, of course, even Bowser is, I guess I should also mention that Bowser is a really great villain in terms of that he is this force that when he wants to do something bad, he'll do it, but as long as he's not causing trouble, like everybody's like worried about him and like they're all friends and buds. But this is clearly Bowser just wanted something, and then it just turned out of control. It kind of reminds me of the plot from Color Splash, in which and that's what I see from here, is basically Bowser Jr. has to work with Mario because Bowser got a little in over his head, and now he's this mindless oil spill, fire powered thing, which is crazy, but man, it's a really interesting idea. So I like that idea if you have to work with Bowser Jr. to help rescue Bowser, which it's an interesting flip. What's another element I was just thinking about? Oh, I guess this is also now a time to bring up some questions / concerns, in quotation marks, some concerns I have, not so much concerns, but just still questions I have. One, how is this connecting with 3D world itself? I mean, I can see it in the gameplay, I can see it in its power-ups and items, I can see it in those elements. I can see how it is affected in that. I can see how 3D world has influenced it. But in terms of actually connecting the two, like where and what point does the game go from Super Mario 3D World multiplayer fun in the Sprixie Kingdom to Bowser is now covered in an oil slick and is mind controlled and Bowser Jr. has to save him and he needs Mario's help? That's the part I'm wondering, because I was making this, I made a point earlier, I forgot to post it on Twitter, dang it. But I made a point saying that the game, at least from this trailer, it seems like it's less of Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury and more of Super Mario 3D World and Super Mario 3D World presents Bowser's Fury. Like, at least based on this trailer and how disconnected the two seem, you could almost argue that you could have just released Super Mario 3D World first and then release it later, release Bowser's Fury later. Now, obviously, I don't know this for sure. For all I know is the next trailer they show could literally explain the entire reason why the two are interconnected. I don't know, but yeah, that's one little question. Another quick question / comment / concern is, I don't think Bowser's Fury is multiplayer, which makes sense, but I also say, oh, that's a little bit disappointing, but I can see why they wouldn't make it a multiplayer experience. My theory is if they are going to make it multiplayer, it's going to be where it's either going to be limited to people, one person has to be Mario, one person has to be Bowser Jr., or if you are going to go with that, you can play as Mario and Luigi and Peach and Toad. It's going to be where you have to do it only online because it's an open world game. I feel like that's going to be the limitation. I hope it's not that, but it makes the most sense because, I mean, I say I hope it's not that because I don't think that's to force people to play online. If you have a group of friends and have good internet connection, yeah, but I don't know, not everybody has access to that, and I don't know if that would really work well. I mean, it works in Pokemon with the Dynamaxing, you know, that thing everyone's comparing this to, at least to Bowser and Mario, but I don't know about that in actual practice. I'd like to see that actually work. Maybe that's what they're gonna do. I kind of hope for it, but I kind of don't want to a little more. I don't want it to happen more, at least that. I'd prefer the local co-op for this. I don't mind the online co-op in the main game because the main games already existed, but this is like a new experience. So, if that made sense, I hope it made sense. Shoot. Speaking of Super Mario 3D World, we didn't get a lot of information on that in this new trailer. Now, to be fair, that makes sense because Super Mario 3D World, we already know about it, and let's face it, we can say as much as we want about the Wii U, but Super Mario 3D World was one of those games that was clearly not the reason the Wii U failed. So, yeah, I think it's safe to say that a lot of people know about Super Mario 3D World, and a lot of people obviously were begging that this game, I say begging, I don't know why I said begging like that, but people obviously wanted this game on Switch. So it's safe to assume that everybody knows about it. It's safe to assume that everyone knows all the information around it. I just kind of wish that we got a little more info on it, just at least like how the online was gonna work, or how if any additional things were added to it. But the trailer we got, this was clearly supposed to be showing off the Bowser's Fury part, which is kind of interesting that the first trailer was only showing Super Mario 3D World stuff and teased Bowser's Fury, and this trailer is only showing Bowser's Fury stuff and in a way teasing Super Mario 3D World because, well, elements from that game are in here. So if you for some reason watch both trailers backwards, then yeah, you kind of see it. You can kind of get intrigued about each of the other games. So okay, yeah, I know a lot of people were saying they wanted to see new characters. I have a feeling this is going to be a prediction. I think Bowser Jr., when you finish Bowser's Fury, he'll be playable in the main game. That's what I think is going to happen. They're probably going to explain that Bowser Jr. came to the Sprixie Kingdom maybe afterward, or maybe like something happened, or I don't know what's going to happen. But they're probably going to explain why he's in the Sprixie Kingdom, and then they're going to say, oh, he's playable now in the game, and basically he acts as, I don't know, not a normal character. He's probably going to be like in this Koopa, he's going to be in the Koopa Clown car, and you're going to be able to jump around, and his thing is he has his paintbrush, and he can just like whack the enemies and with his paintbrush, but he can't get any power-ups. I feel like he's going to be like a more competent Nabbit from New Super Mario Bros. U, in that he can't get power-ups, but he constantly can hit enemies, and he can constantly do stuff. He can still die to things, or at least he can still get hit. He still has a like 3 life system, but he just can't do any powers. He always constantly has a power to use. So I think that's what I think. He's going to be a more competent Nabbit, and that he's going to be an interesting playable character in addition to this game. I know a lot of people were talking about adding Toadette to the game because Toadette was in Mario Maker 2. No. Just no. Because I'm going to be very honest with you. I would have not bought this game. Okay. I'm lying to myself when I say this, but back when I didn't know if this game was going to come out, I was borderline saying I would not buy the game if they replaced Peach with Toadette, because I thought it was, I'm going to be honest with you, I hated Peachette in New Super Mario Bros. U. At least I hated what the concept was. I understood it, but I really didn't like it, because it was just like, there was like 5 other ways you could have done that and not have to make a whole power-up only dedicated to one person. But yeah, that was kind of silly to me. What I wouldn't mind her in the game, I just didn't want her replacing Peach. I know why she was in Mario Maker 2, because they had the Toadette model, the Princess Peach they couldn't really integrate the same way, so it makes sense why they added her in that game. But here you don't have a reason to get rid of Peach, because you already made the model and you already made the game elements, so there's no need for that. If she was added in, or if they do add her in later, that would be great, but I'm not begging for it, is my thing. and yeah, that I'm just not begging for it. Shoot. I guess the only other thing that I'm really hoping for, because like I said, the one concern I had was that how separated is this game from Super Mario 3D World. But even though they are seem separate, I'm glad that they did bundle these two in. And it seems like this game is not just it doesn't seem like this game is just a Wii U port that they added a few things to make it better. It's clearly, they took Super Mario 3D World, they tweaked that game a bit to help out people. They tweaked that game because they weren't limited by the Wii U anymore. They added updates to it that made sense. And they included a game about they included an add-on basically, which is Bowser's Fury, and they made that look amazing so far. And they went with these new ideas. They went with a new concept. And like I said, I honestly am surprised that they just didn't do Super Mario 3D World first, and then later if you bought the game early, or if you want to, you can buy Bowser's Fury later, like as a separate kind of thing, kind of like what they did with the Torna DLC with Xenoblade. But it looks really good. I'm really liking it. I'm excited for it. There were a couple other things. They had the Super Mario 35 where you can, like, it was play and defeat like 30.5 million Bowsers or something. I think that's interesting. Super Mario 35, in case you didn't see it, I did put, it is somewhere on my top 6 games of 2020 list. I'm not going to tell you where, you're going to have to watch the video. I think it's interesting. What gets me though is that they're saying you can win platinum points for that My Nintendo thing, which is interesting, which leads to a whole little micro separate discussion of how I think My Nintendo works, and because recently they got rid of getting 3DS and Wii U coupons, I'm starting to think that maybe they're going to update it later and say how, whereas the gold points on that system, they allowed you to, they represented like a cent. I think they're going to update it where the platinum coins you get, they will represent like even less. So like, if in order to get $1 of platinum coins, you have to have like 1,000, and in order to get, and then you can use that towards your Switch games again, or they're just going to start making coupons on Switch, which either one would be fine with me. I just hope they update it and they don't make platinum coins worthless. Yeah, but yeah, that's my thing. Finally, we also got the news that there's going to be a Super Mario Nintendo Switch, which is this bright red Switch, and I actually mean the Switch because they actually took the shell of the Switch and made it red, unlike previous special edition Switches where the back plate had like little etchings, and only the Joy-Cons were colored, or only the dock was a special color. This one, the entire Switch is red, and it's colored and themed to Mario, and I'm liking it. I love the look of this Switch so far, and for me personally, I usually don't, if I already have a console, I'm gonna be like, well, I already have the console now. I don't just want to buy another console just because it's a different color. But this is that one time where I'm saying, you know what? I might do that this one time, unless they announce the Switch Pro. In which case, then yeah, I'm gonna get the Switch Pro, not the recolor, but that recolor does look good. That recolor looks really good. So I don't know. This is like the first time I'm actually thinking I might have to double dip a bit and buy a completely different color. But yeah, this was an interesting trailer. It was an interesting news day. I'm looking forward to Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. I love the Wii U game. And in case I didn't make that clear, in case I didn't say it, I probably didn't. But I think that this was my number one game from Wii U that I wanted to port it onto Nintendo Switch, and so far I think they're nailing it. They nailing it with the initial game and adding features that people really wanted. I really hope they expand on that soon. They are adding this really new, interesting mode of Bowser's Fury, which looks amazing so far. I think what I was trying to say beforehand is that this is going to be a very interesting Wii U to Switch port, and I think it might set a new standard, because Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, when they ported Mario Kart 8 to Switch, that was already kind of the standard for Wii U to Switch port, saying take the best elements and make them better. So if this might set a new standard. I mean, to be fair, there's not many Wii U games left, but this is gonna set a standard. In my opinion, if there are any games on Wii U left to port, you now have a very high standard now. To be fair, this might be the last one, but hey, you know what? This sets a I feel like this sets a new standard. I say in terms of at least porting Wii U games. So if there's any other obscure Wii U games on Switch that get ported to obscure Wii U games that get ported to Switch, I'm sorry. If that happens, you know what? We're gonna you got some nerves. You got something. You got something to compare to now. That's like, okay. Okay, I've rambled on enough. I've rambled on for like, 20 minutes. So, anyways, did you like this? Did you like this trailer? Are you gonna pick up Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury? Let me know in the comments below what you like, what you dislike, what you have questions, comments, and concerns of. I'd like to hear them, or at least read them. That's how the comment section works, unless there's a new microphone option. I don't know. YouTube's constantly changing. I'm not that funny. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see more content because you like what I do, which again, I'm not going to dispute. And if you want to see even more content from me, make sure to check out ntgamepoint.weebly.com. That is my Nintendo themed website where you get to see videos like this, both here and both on YouTube and my site. And I hope to see you guys again. Thank you guys for watching once again, and have a wonderful evening.